All right. Welcome, everybody. This is a Gray Trunk RFID webinar. I'm Cassidy Albertson, the General Manager of Gray Trunk RFID. And I've got Danny McBee with me, our account executive. So what I'm going to do is like the agenda said, I'm going to present a little bit about why Gray Trunk RFID exists, how it can help everybody, and that also gives people a little bit extra time to log in before seeing Danny give our famous Gray Trunk RFID demo. So without further ado, I'll present. All right, Danny, you can see those, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here we go. What I want to talk a little bit about is how asset tracking will actually save you the time and the money, because that's what we're really here to do, is create that ROI for your business around tracking your assets. Now, one thing that I want to get right just from the jump here is the difference between asset tracking and inventory tracking. Asset tracking is referring more to long-term assets that stay around in your business for 2 or 3 years. The pieces of a business that you really want to see how they move throughout the business, maybe what it costs, all those things. Maybe there's maintenance involved. Inventory tracking is a little different. It's actually the short-term goods, and you're viewing and managing stock levels, reporting on the top performing goods, and those are more like products and supplies that you might find in a little bit more of a retail setting, or something that you're trying to purchase, manufacture, and then get out the door. So today we're going to focus on asset tracking. Gray Trunk RFID is our asset tracking tool. Inventory tracking, we have another tool for that, and you're welcome to join us next Wednesday for our inventory tracking software demo as well. But more on that asset tracking, really it's understanding what the goal of it is and how you can actually increase your cost savings by optimizing your assets and minimizing the equipment loss. I mean, it's really important to understand that's the goal and what it takes to actually get there. First, you need these 3 things. You need some software, which Gray Trunk RFID is a great example of that, and Danny's going to walk us through the ins and outs, how to set it up, how to utilize it, and how that can be customized to your experience. Tags, typically we support barcode and RFID. RFID sees significantly more cost savings than barcode application. And then last but not least is a scanning device. We support a couple of different ones. I think Danny will talk about that later. But really, the one pictured here is the Janum XR2, which is our all-in-one that we support. And that just gives the flexibility of having a RFID reader with a phone built in, so you can just use one hand to complete your inventory. We're going to start by following 3 objectives when we get you set up. Knowing what assets you have, it's important to understand exactly what they are, what you want to track. And then Gray Trunk RFID allows you to know where your assets are. So not only are you checking on your piece of equipment and you know exactly what that piece of equipment is, you also know where it is, maybe who has it, when it's scheduled for maintenance, when it fully appreciates. And that's the last thing, is knowing how your assets are. Being able to see that full history of the asset moving through the organization is pivotal. Finally, that's where saving time and money comes into place. The time aspect is huge. I mean, obviously, we're building a piece of software that makes it easier to update and add assets. The goal is efficient and accurate scanning. And really, the time that we're saving is time taking that inventory of your asset, right? So being able to walk through a room, know exactly what assets you have or don't have in that room, just saves a bunch of time. And time is money. So because you're spending less time to conduct those inventories, it's enabling your team to do a little bit more with the time that they have back. It also allows you to have increased uptime of equipment. That is really in play when you start setting up maintenance schedules and understanding how your equipment is passed in and out of maintenance. And those other two on there are very specific, and they can really be leveraged to show that ROI as well. I think it's important to understand that saving time is not just the only way to save money, but it's also understanding of where your assets are, how many you have, and when they're ready to be disposed of. And the stats behind that, 74% of companies don't understand how lost assets actually impact them. There's a bunch of use cases out there where you buy something, it gets lost somewhere, and you don't actually understand the entire scope of how that impacted your business. And in fact, 55% of small business don't track assets at all, or they choose to use a manual process, which can be very time consuming. And finally, the 20% of assets on record don't actually exist. This is typical of asset management run through Excel spreadsheets, and maybe it's just one person knows exactly where it is at all times, but the rest of the company doesn't know. So being able to have that visibility is increasingly important. And so with all of that, I'm going to kick it over to Danny. Danny's going to walk you through our Great Trunk RFID software, and hopefully you can capture some of those key points that I've talked about so far. So Danny, feel free, go ahead and present.
Of course.
Perfect.
You see my screen here?
Yep.
Awesome. All right, everyone. So this is an overview of everything in Great Trunk. This is the dashboard view. So you'll have 17 assets, 17 in the last 12 months, your net asset value. It'll display your number of employees and your number of sub-users. You have a graph here that's going to show your assets by status. And then you have your assets by category, which you can do count or percentage. Then there's this calendar here that's going to show your maintenance due and any assets that are past due. You can set these alerts to send to anyone as many emails as you need to let everyone know that that asset needs to come back. And then there's a bell up here that's also going to show you the same, mirroring this calendar. And then below you have your recent activities log that shows the last check-in and checkouts. So the easiest way for me to show you all is to go through setup. So we're going to start with our site. So the site is the parent, or what you can think of as the parent. So here we have building one, shop, job site, ranch, truck yard. So that's the main site. The location you can think of as the child, because that's what's within the site. So you have shop, storage, your truck yard, truck lot one, so forth. All of these are customizable, 100% customizable and unlimited. So you can have as many sites and as many locations as you need. Your categories are also unlimited. We do have some here: vehicles, supplies, computer equipment. You can uncheck those, add as many as you want, customize them to be whatever your assets are. We also have asset fields, which is how you describe the asset. So whether it's available or the serial number, anything to narrow down and describe exactly what this asset is. And you also have your custom fields, and you can use that in any way that you like. I personally use it if you have smaller items that might be hammers or things like that are in a bin. You can say it's on the shelf in bins 1, 2, 3. You can create drop downs, radio buttons, or check boxes, and then add which category that's in. So this is 100% customizable. And we also like to let people know that we offer this in English and Spanish. Okay, so we're going to go into an asset here. So this is our view asset page. This is where you would filter any of your assets. So if you just wanted to see everything that's in one specific spot, or if you wanted to see everything that was available or checked out or a specific category, you would do that here. And you can also run reports on any of those that you filter. So if you want to see everything that's available and then run a report on it, you can. As you can see here, you have your header. This is customizable as well. When you first sign in, it'll have your asset tag in a different setting, and you can go in and change that as well to have all the information present that you need. So we'll go into this asset here. There we go. So this is is exactly where all your asset detail would go. Anything you feed that asset information would come up here. You can see that I have a photo here. You can take a photo of any of your assets. You check in, dispose, mark it as lost, or edit it here. I'm just going to do a quick check-in to show you all your return date and any notes. I tell everyone to make sure you add in notes. So if something is damaged or anything like that or needs repaired, you can add those in and I'll show you exactly where those will come up. So we'll just put in a little 1, 2, 3 note here. And as you can see, that fast it comes up available. So we'll start with our Documents tab. This is where you can add in any owner's manuals, receipts of purchase, things like that. Anything that is information that you want with that asset. Your History tab is kind of like a super snitch. It's going to tell you exactly what you've done or what you've changed within this asset forever. So you have your time, dates, and stamp. It'll show you even if you were to change like heating, if you were to change that to cooling, it's going to let you know, hey, at this time, we changed these fields with your time and date stamp. Your Maintenance tab, this is where you would go in and schedule all of your maintenance. And it would go up to that calendar that I showed you at the beginning. So you would name your maintenance, however, maintenance on car, maintenance on truck, who it's maintenance by, and then add those notes in, and then a due date for completion. The Events tab, remember when I checked this in and I added that little note, those are going to come up here, or down here, I should say. And it's just going to tell you exactly when it was checked in and checked out and if it was assigned to anybody. You can also add depreciation. I did on my little $10 heater. And I just did straight line depreciation, but you can do that on any of your assets. And then your scan history, which is just going to show the last times that this particular asset was scanned. Now, if you wanted to go back in and check out, I'm going to show you checkout on both the web page and the app. So for the web page, your checkout date, you can check it out to an employee or site or location. For this one, we're going to do a site or location. Say we're checking it out to building 1 storage, and I'm just going to say 1, 2, 3 again. Come on. There we go. So now you can see that it's checked out. And it also shows you down here as well. So I'm going to take you over to the web page, or to the app, sorry. And we are going to our devices. I'm going to make sure that this one's hooked up. It says it is, but sometimes it likes to disconnect. And I have my TSL reader here. There we go. So as soon as you connect it, it's going to come up with this transmit power. I leave mine at 30. That's the highest reading. You can go all the way down to 4. So if you have a smaller area that you need only a couple scanned, you can change this transmit power all the way down to 4. But I'm going to leave mine set up here. And as you can see, I did forget to mention that this is the exact same as the home page on the web app. Start scan. So I'm hooked up with my TSL reader. We're going to do an inventory scan. You're going to select your site and your location. Start scan. Automatically, you see that there's 13 designated to this site and location. So I'm just going to scan around the room real fast. Selected 34. That's completely fine. We're going to hit complete scan. Automatically, it's going to come up and tell you you're found, missing, misplaced, and new assets. So found is every tag that this reader found. Whether it was disposed, whether it was available, this is what was supposed to be in here that the reader was able to capture. Your missing are things that are in here or that are not here that are supposed to be. So all of these things are actually in the room behind me. My reader didn't capture it through the wall. So all of these are supposed to be in here. They're part of that 13. Your misplaced are things that are in here that are not supposed to be. So this is supposed to be in the shop. This is supposed to be in the maintenance bay. So say you did want to go ahead and change that, you can just update site or location. And then to say it's actually supposed to be here. So it doesn't have to be a mishap. It can just be, okay, I accidentally scanned it. Nobody changed it. You can go in and change. And then your new assets. I'm going to go back to new assets because I do want to show you all how to bulk scan. But I will show you if you have an asset that is in your found tab and you physically don't see it, maybe it's hiding, maybe it's under something, you can click on it, click locate asset, and then then just scan around the room, and it's going to play hot or cold. Your scanner is going to vibrate and beep at you, and that bar is going to go up. This is also where you would mark something, check it out, check it in, dispose, same as on the web page. Now I'm going to show you how to scan one individual item. So if you have someone that just needs, maybe they're just checking out a laptop and you're saying, okay, that's fine, you can check it out yourself. They have the app downloaded and they do have the credentials. You can simply scan with the phone, click on it, and check it out to yourself, or like I said, to a site or location. Check out. So it does become checkout. You can see this is what, 122363. We'll head back over here, go into our assets. And you can see that this is now showing checked out. So to add in a new asset, we can do the same. We can either scan everything under a bulk scan, or you can scan individual. So we're going to try bulk scan here. Oh, sorry, I'm not on the, I'm looking at, there we go. Sorry, guys. So now we have 15 because I did add the other two. Complete scan. And you can bulk change all of these at the same time. So if you wanted all of everything that's found in this office to check out, you can. There we go. All right, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, so it's a very simple application run through the web app and the corresponding mobile app as well. We support Android and iOS, and we also support those 3 different RFID readers. Danny, do you want to walk us through which readers we have available?
Yeah, of course. I'm going to pull up our readers here. So we have the Janum, which has the tablet on top, the TSL 1128, which I have here, and then the Zebra RFD 4031. Now I do tell people the TSL is great, the Zebra is great, the Janum is great. They all have the same read range radius. The TSL or the Zebra is a little bit more durable. So if you're doing construction or things like that, the Zebra is the best for durability. The TSL, like I said, still works great. The Janum does is amazing because it does have the tablet on top. So you don't have to have multiple people getting the app on their personal phones, or even you all getting the app on your personal phones. It is an Android, so it does work just like a phone. But those are our 3 options for readers.
Yeah, and in fact, the Janum can actually be connected to a wireless network as well. So you have that flexibility in that unit. But I've heard you say this a couple times, and I think the people that have joined us today would like to know a little bit more about that read range. If you flip back over to your mobile app, I think when you did your first inventory scan, what I noticed was you got 34 assets, right? Like you just have a ton of tags hidden throughout your office. Can you dial back the power to like 4 or 6 or something like that, and just show everybody kind of what that looks like, so that you can kind of narrow your scope and you don't accidentally get a bunch of wild RFID tags?
Yeah. So when you we'll go here. This change transmit power is the retransmit power button. Like I said before, the furthest thing in my office is about 20 feet, and I capture it every time. If you go down, you can go all the way down to 4. So if there is a small area that you just kind of need to scan 5 or 6 items, and you're maybe in a bigger warehouse or in a bigger storage closet or something like that, you can turn it down to 4 and only capture the things that are right there in front of you. Like I said, the 30, I captured something that's 20 feet away. We say about 25 feet is the max, but it works really well. And to be able to change it, or to change it down if you're getting too many it really helps because you don't have to move a whole lot of other things to make sure you get that small area. You can just change that transmit powering down.
Yeah, so
And
go,
always
go
leave
ahead.
mine.
Hey, Danny, can you go ahead and set that power at 4 and actually scan your room? And what we should notice is we shouldn't get all 34 back unless they're sitting right in front of her on her desk. So
Yeah.
if she sets the power all the way down to 4, she goes ahead and scans and does that little wave motion that she did before, you know, all right, so we've lost 10, right?
Mhm.
So like there's 10 outside of that range, which really helps narrow that scope. If you've got a bunch of RFID tags and you're implementing RFID, it's one way to really narrow that search down. So perfect. Thanks for showing us that. Can you actually show us where they can find reports on their account if they've got a bunch of
Oh,
people in the
yeah.
field? They've got a bunch of people in the field, completing these inventory scans, and how can
Yeah.
somebody, maybe behind a desk or back at their office, how can they actually see some of these reports?
Yeah, of course. So your little dots here, which also the bell, again, this is that other one's past due now. Um, you would just go to reports and you can run automated reports, maintenance reports, scan reports, and depreciation reports. For your automated reports, you can run those. I'm just going to hit it. So this is everything that you could think of, exactly the time, the date, the day, weekly, monthly, daily, yearly. You can run these reports automatically. Oh, so yeah, you can run your maintenance reports the same, your scan reports, and your depreciation reports from there.
Yeah, and if we look at your scan report, we should see that last
Hit
time that you
save.
just scanned, I believe.
Yeah.
Can you hop in there and just show us a little bit of what that looks like? There we go.
Yeah. So this is the one that I did today. It's still going to come up and show your found, missing, misplaced, and new. So these are all the ones that were new. We didn't have any misplaced because I moved those ones over. And then again, you can see your status of available and checked out. Now, if you're on your homepage and you do want to check something out, I forgot to mention also, you can check these ones that are checked out if you wanted to, all in at the same time. So you can, there's multiple ways to mass check in or check out where you don't have to do each one individual or have to be in the same room with them. So you could easily just check all of these ones in right there. I forgot to show you all that and I wanted to go back. I'm so
Awesome.
sorry.
No, that's perfect. I think it's important to know because, one of the most common questions we get is if we want to do something in bulk, right? How can we do bulk actions, right? And I think that's something that we want to get crystal clear. So do you want to walk us through exactly what goes into a bulk edit? You don't have to complete a bulk edit, but maybe just show us how to complete one.
Yeah. So you would just choose your category. Let me see which one I have. We'll probably, yeah, we could do tools. No, my computer's doing a
So
run.
I think, yeah, I think one of the things, just to talk through this a little bit here, is when you choose a bulk edit and you go into your category, it's actually going to give you that template and return all the results in that field. So I think that's what Danny just opened up here. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you could go in. These are not. There we go. You can go in and change and edit all of these and then re-upload it and everything would change. So obviously this would be a lot more. I only have like 4 or 5 things. But in the grand scheme, you can edit all of those at once. Move them to where you need to, add whatever you need, and then re-upload it and it go into your software.
Yeah, and that's fantastic. And I want to invite everybody out there. If you have specific questions that you want Danny and I to answer, please use the Q&A as well. But one of the common things that we see, go ahead and close that out, Danny, is we see people get Gray Trunk RFID into their business and see the value, and then it just kind of slowly trickles into other departments, right? So like as soon as you start tracking all of your assets like your machinery and your tools and stuff like that, then as soon as people see the value, they actually start branching out, and the finance department really wants to see, kind of what's going in and what that looks like as well. So the bulk edit is a great way if you need to add a field, like, your finance department says, hey, we really need to understand which one of these tools or which one of these machines is depreciating against each GL, right? Each general ledger account or each general ledger code. And so they have the ability to go in here and add fields. And I think you showed that earlier, but if I wanted to add, a GL code just as a text box to all of your machinery, is that something you can demo for us, Danny? Can you add that just to machinery?
Do you mean
Go ahead
like
and add a field, like set up an account where you're adding a field.
oh, where I'm adding a field? Sorry, gotcha.
Yep.
In your asset fields.
Yeah, so it's really as easy as this. Danny's gonna go in here and it's called GL code. That's what I want it called. The finance department needs to be able to track this. So GL code, and that's gonna be required for all of our machinery assets. So as you can see, you can set the required, and then you can really limit it to the category. So if that way you can be specific and not introduce a whole bunch of data. Go ahead and add that, and be intentional about what data you're collecting and what that means. So now if she goes back to one of her machinery assets, we should be able to see that that field is there. And in a larger account, this is Danny's demo account, obviously. In a larger account, you can see how all of those might get applied. And so there's the GL code. It's just a text field, and it's going to require her to enter that to save it, right? So, then she can write, whatever you want. Go ahead and give it a code. Perfect. And so it's really customizable. I think that's really the benefit of adding a tool like Gray Trunk RFID is being able to customize it for your use. Danny's got her ranch set up in here, and sees value in that. But what if you have any other questions, shoot them on over. I think there was another thing that you mentioned early, the language. So if you go into setup account and we look at languages, you said that there's English and Spanish. The other day you told me that we're also planning on adding a new language. Which one's that?
Oh yeah, we're gonna add French.
Okay,
so we're adding English, Spanish, and French.
And that makes sense. I think we've got enough customers, especially up in that Canada region, that are leveraging this tool, and they want all of their employees and sub-users to be able to use it in their primary language. One thing that we could get into is actually users and employees. Can you jump on over to that?
Oh yeah.
As well? Because when you set up your account, it's important to have the assets and stuff like that. The difference between sub-users and employees is actually who can actually interact with the Gray Trunk RFID tool, right? So employees are people that you might assign assets out to. It's like a consumer type role. If you're an IT manager, maybe this is everybody on the sales floor is an employee. So you set them up that way so that you can check out laptops, phones, those type of equipment, right? The sub-user is the one that's actually interacting. So if you're an IT manager again, and you've got a support staff, you could set them up in here with different permission sets, and they can actually execute all of these check-in, check-out, creating reports, all of that kind of stuff, depending on what access that you give them. So it's important to know the difference between exactly what an employee is versus what a sub-user is, and how that impacts your organization.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I think,
and I really like how you can set that to where it's like, I don't want somebody to delete a field, or I don't want somebody to be able to check in or check out something, or I only want them to be able to check out something and then come to me when they're ready to check it in so I can inspect it or whatever. I like how we could give those permissions for that.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's also important because there's a lot of times that you need a team to actually execute the inventory, and they don't necessarily need the access to delete categories
Yeah.
or worry about account setup. They just need to go and do it. So I think that's a pretty good summary. So yeah, again, thank you all for coming. I think we're in a pretty good spot here. If you have any questions for Danny and I, feel free to reach out. The last thing I want Danny to show you before you go is the pricing. Can you just show them how easy that pricing page is real quick?
Yeah. Oh, I'm just gonna have to go here.
Perfect. So
Yeah.
all of our pricing is based on your number of assets. And it is a very, very low cost entry fee to get started. But on top of that, there is 30-day free trial. So, don't be afraid to start a free trial. Just see what Gray Trunk RFID is all about. And then identifying exactly what assets you're tracking, what fields you're interested in, what data points will help you make decisions is going to be the key. And then we can price this out monthly. If you're just in that trial phase, you want to run a quick proof of concept, you can do all that. And there's a benefit if you're ready to, jump both feet in. We have a discount for an annual price. So you'll see that reflected. It's a 20% off. And then on top of that, once you start a trial or go into a monthly payment, Danny is actually the one that's going to reach out. So Danny will reach out, and we also offer, a completely free onboarding process as well, where Danny will kind of walk you through your account, help explain anything that you may have, misunderstood or forgot about our demo today. So we have those meetings set up. You just reach out, book a demo if you want to talk a little bit more. Other than that, I think we can let these people have their time back.
I think there's a question in the Q&A.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So the question is, do you have any integrations built out, right? What's our level of connection to different systems like ERPs, point of sale, stuff like that. So it's a fantastic question. We get it frequently, and the answer is we don't have any out of the box integrations. Okay, it's a very one-off kind of thing where before we build an integration or we build a custom report to support that integration, we will make sure that we understand exactly what that system is. So it's another meeting with me and just identifying some of those requirements about what you're looking to integrate and how you're looking for that to integrate. That's a great question. All right. Well, I'm not seeing anything else in the Q&A section. Again, if you have some questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I'll cut everybody loose. Sound good? All right. Well, thanks, Danny. I
Thanks.
appreciate all your time. Thank you all for joining us. I hope to hear from you soon.